What makes someone a true warrior and strategist? In today's video, we'll dive into the battles of David, one of Israel's greatest military leaders. But don't think his victories came only from physical strength or skill with weapons. David combined unshakable faith with a strategic mind, leading armies and winning battles that seemed impossible. From a young shepherd defeating Goliath to a king expanding an empire, David teaches us valuable lessons about leadership, strategy, and trust in something greater than ourselves. If you've ever wondered how great leaders emerge during the toughest times, this video will show you exactly that. We'll explore how David overcame his challenges, faced powerful enemies, and solidified his reign with a unique blend of military strategy and faith. Stay with us until the end and discover how these lessons can impact your life, whether in moments of decision or in building your own journey. David was just a young shepherd when he faced one of the greatest challenges of his life, Goliath. While Israel's seasoned warriors hesitated, David, with unwavering courage and confidence, volunteered to fight the Philistine giant. Without heavy armor or traditional weapons, he used only a sling and some stones, showcasing not just skill, but also absolute trust in God. His victory over Goliath was not just the start of his military career, but a pivotal moment in Israel's history. This triumph elevated his reputation and revealed that David had much more than physical strength. He had a strategic mind and unshakable faith. This victory wasn't just a stroke of luck. David showed an innate ability to assess battles differently. While other warriors focused on Goliath's size and strength, David saw the giant's vulnerability. He knew that with precise strategy, even the most fearsome opponent could fall. This strategic vision, even in his youth, began to mark David as a potential leader. And with just one well-aimed stone, he defeated Goliath, paving the way for a military career filled with victories. David's courage came not just from his physical abilities, but from his trust in God. He believed that his battles were, in truth, the Lord's battles, which motivated him to fight with boldness. Many saw his youth as a sign of inexperience, but David saw it as an opportunity to prove that faith and strategy could overcome any obstacle. This confidence made him an inspiring figure among the people of Israel, and his victory over Goliath was just the first of many that would shape his reputation. More than just his physical victory, David began to build a reputation as a natural leader. He wasn't just the young man who defeated a giant, he was Israel's future leader. Soldiers saw in him a rare mix of bravery, humility, and wisdom. This combination made David a respected and beloved figure, even while he was still just a shepherd. His ability to inspire and lead, even in moments of crisis, was already becoming evident. David's victory over Goliath was only the beginning of his journey. From this moment, he embarked on a path that would lead him into exile, where he would fight with new allies and eventually claim Israel's throne. But this initial triumph cemented his place as a rising warrior and strategist. After defeating Goliath and gaining popularity, David found himself pursued by King Saul, who feared his rise. Forced into exile, David spent years on the run, yet even in this challenging situation, he managed to gather a loyal group of warriors known as David's mighty men. These men, like David, were looking for a leader to guide them through difficult times. Even without official power, David stood out as a skilled commander, earning the trust and loyalty of his followers through his courage, wisdom, and sense of justice. David didn't just survive in exile, he thrived. Using a mix of military tactics and guerrilla strategies, he led his men in various battles against Israel's enemies, protecting his people even without official command. His leadership during this period was marked by his remarkable ability to make quick and effective decisions, even when outnumbered or out-resourced. Living as outlaws, David and his men defeated many threats, earning respect from both allies and enemies. His time in exile forged David into an even more resilient leader. Without the resources of an official army, he learned to use every advantage at his disposal, leveraging the terrain and elements around him. He developed a keen ability to read combat situations, and with his mighty men, he formed a group that acted with surgical precision. It wasn't just survival, David was building a military force that would be crucial for his future reign. Beyond his military skill, David showed compassion and justice in critical moments. On more than one occasion, he had the chance to kill Saul, his persecutor, but chose to spare him, demonstrating firm character and a conviction that vengeance wasn't the answer. These acts of mercy strengthened the loyalty of his men even further, and showed that David wasn't just a warrior, he was a leader with principles, someone who valued honor above all. Even in exile, David was preparing for something greater. Every battle, every strategic decision, and every alliance formed during this time was molding him for the future. He knew that his journey was far from over, and the challenges he faced in exile were merely a prelude to something much grander: the throne of Israel. After years of struggle and waiting, David was finally anointed king of Israel. Upon ascending the throne, he focused his military and strategic abilities on a clear goal: conquering Jerusalem. The city, located in a strategically vital position, was crucial for consolidating the kingdom and ensuring its security. David not only captured the city, but transformed it into the capital of Israel, centralizing political and religious power in one place. This victory symbolized the start of a reign marked by expansion and strengthening of the kingdom. David understood that a kingdom's true strength came not only from its borders but from the unity of its people. Jerusalem became the center of this unification, and David worked tirelessly to establish a solid infrastructure that connected all the tribes of Israel. He also fortified the city, knowing it would become a target for surrounding enemies. From Jerusalem, he commanded his troops with precision, defeating the Philistines, Ammonites, and other neighboring kingdoms that threatened Israel's security. The battles David fought during his reign were characterized by a combination of courage and tactics. He never engaged in a battle without a clear plan, and always relied on the counsel of his advisors and generals. David used both strength and diplomacy, building alliances when necessary, and facing enemies with surprising strategies. His victory over the Philistines, who had long been a constant threat to Israel, was one of the most significant achievements of his reign. Each victory David achieved strengthened the kingdom and extended Israel's borders. He didn't just conquer territories but ensured that these new lands were securely controlled. His conquests were not only military, he also cared about bringing prosperity to his people, establishing an era of security and stability. Jerusalem, once an ordinary city, now became the beating heart of a united and prosperous nation. But expanding Israel's kingdom and strengthening Jerusalem were only part of the legacy David was building. His battlefield victories were laying the foundation for an era of peace and prosperity, one that would be inherited by his son Solomon. David knew that despite all his conquests, the true challenge was ensuring the continuity and stability of his reign for future generations. David's military legacy wasn't just about victories on the battlefield. It was a unique blend of brilliant strategy and unshakable faith. David always believed that his battles were, in fact, God's battles, and this guided every move he made. His ability to see beyond the immediate, to anticipate the enemy's moves, and to know when to advance and when to retreat, made him one of the greatest strategists of his time. He knew that no matter how skilled he was, his true strength came from his connection with God. During his reign, David implemented a series of military innovations that strengthened Israel's army. He organized his troops efficiently, created a spy network to gather crucial information about enemies, and built strategic alliances that increased Israel's power. But beyond tactics, he knew that success came from his faith. Before any major battle, David sought divine guidance, always aware that without God's help, his victories would be meaningless. The balance between military strategy and faith is what made David stand out as a leader. He knew that brute force alone wasn't enough to win wars. It required wisdom, patience, and the ability to inspire his men. His soldiers followed him not just because he was an effective commander, but because they believed in his vision. David was able to inspire confidence, showing that every victory on the battlefield was part of a larger plan involving divine will. David's impact as a military leader was felt long after his lifetime. His conquests paved the way for an era of stability and prosperity that would be solidified by his son Solomon. David not only expanded the kingdom of Israel but prepared the ground for his successor to reign in peace. His military legacy wasn't just about victories, it was about preparing for the future. He ensured that with a strong and united nation, Israel would continue to thrive for generations. David's legacy as a military strategist and man of faith is undeniable. He showed that true leadership is about more than defeating enemies. It's about building something lasting, something that inspires and protects his people. David laid a strong foundation for Israel, and his name would be remembered for centuries as an example of faith, courage, and military wisdom. Now that you understand what made David one of history's greatest strategists and warriors, the question is, how can you apply these lessons to your own life? David showed us that beyond strength and skill, it takes unshakable faith and the ability to see beyond immediate challenges to achieve great victories. So, where in your life can you combine strategy with confidence to reach great success? Believe it. Just like David, your battles can also be won with courage, wisdom, and determination. So share in the comments what challenges you're facing and how these lessons have inspired you. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to keep learning more about how the stories of great leaders can impact your life and help you achieve your goals.